Hey everyone, welcome back to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith, and this is
Pet McDonald, and we're here to finish continuing our playthrough of the completion of the Gallerist Solo Edition.
This is the conclusion of the playthrough, is what he's trying to say. And we put out a challenge last time, right, to say, can anyone come up with how we could end the game at Master Gallerist level? Because you figured it out, but we didn't tell you guys. And sure enough, someone did. Elizabeth Howell, congratulations. You did figure out a way for us to get to the Master Gallerist, but interestingly, a different way than what you'd come up with.
Very slightly different.
Yeah,
like basically the same things happening, but a slightly different way to get there.
Yeah, so if you want to look in the comments and see what Elizabeth proposed, you can. We're actually going to follow this through with the idea that Pep had come up with. And so you can kind of compare Elizabeth and see how you did it differently. But I want to congratulate you because our little prize was that in the next gameplay where we would use a name, which we always end up using, we'll use yours as one of the characters in it. So if you want us to use Elizabeth or Liz or whatever you'd like, just put that in the comments below. But let's go to the table and find out what's going to happen next.
So first up, we'll be using our executive action to put one of our assistants onto a contract.
This will give us a special ability.
Yes, it'll allow us to draw one visitor from the bag and put them directly into our gallery.
And we can take one of any kind. Pep, what do you recommend here?
Definitely a collector.
And there is one in the bag, but no more. It's now in the Preprod gallery. Now for our location action, we're going to go to the Artist's Colony.
And we're buying a painting.
Right, from our old friend Jean-Luc, the first artist that we had put a painting up in our gallery. I know I was a little down on Jean-Luc to begin with, because if you recall, he had that painting of a guy with a screaming stomach. Amazingly, that sold.
Yeah, he went through some dark times in his youth.
He did. But he's on the other side, and now he's really famous. In fact, he's gaining so much fame from this sale, a total of 4 for the 4 collectors in our gallery, that he's reaching celebrity status. Which means we take one of these tokens here, and place it on Jean-Luc, and it allows us to collect 5 money right away.
And this painting is an exclusive. This is going to be the final painting ever produced by Jean-Luc.
I don't know if he's out of ideas or he's just tired of working for such a sketchy gallery. Either way, as Pep says, he's done making paintings. So we'll take this one and add it to our gallery. Oh, and one very important step. When we took this painting, it was going to allow us to collect a brown ticket. And that is the final brown ticket in the stack here. So we're going to have intermediate scoring at the end of this turn. I'll place the ticket here, and we'll need to draw one random visitor from the bag because there's 1 ticket there. There's only 2 visitors left in the bag, and I've drawn an investor. Now we'll take one of his signature tokens and place it on the track here at the highest position, meaning the value of his artwork is now worth 20 money each.
$20 million!
It's expensive. No wonder he's done. He can just retire on that kind of money.
And arguably the most important thing is we now have a masterpiece in our gallery, which means that we'll be able to use this final slot.
And we're going to need that to achieve the Master Gallerist level.
And now it's time for the intermediate scoring.
Right, so we'll gain 2 influence for each VIP and 1 for each collector in our gallery, and 2 money for each investor and 1 for each collector in the gallery. So based on the visitors in our gallery, that means we're going to get 8 influence, that's a lot, and 12 money.
You'll notice all of our visitors are also conveniently lined up for us.
Right, so you can count easier.
I think Gendrick just pulled the fire alarm.
Oh, the old insurance scam. Clever. Now it's Lacerda's turn, and he's going to move and kick us out. One of his assistants will be left behind, and we're going to take a kicked out action by spending some of our influence.
And we'll be using this to buy a painting from Troy.
First things first, we'll move these visitors to the plaza, and now we're going to gain 2 tickets, but let's go down and take a look at our ticket situation. So from this painting, we're going to gain 1 brown ticket and then either a white or pink one. However, there are no brown tickets left. So the rule in this case is that we remove a ticket of any other type. Maybe in this case, I'll remove a white one. And then you take the ticket that you do want from the discard piles. So I'll take this brown ticket.
And then we'll also be taking a pink ticket.
Okay. Now we're going to need to pay for this painting, and currently it's going to cost us 5. And Pep, as I pay this, I do want to mention, Jean-Luc, he just phoned me up. He's like, where's the money for the last painting you bought from me?
I sent Gendrick to him with a briefcase of money.
He's insisting that he did not receive the payment.
Well, let's just ask Where's Gendrick?
Where's Gendrick? Where'd he go?
I feel so betrayed.
Do you think he just took the money and ran?
I think he did.
Oh my goodness, he backstabbed us. Don't worry, Jean-Luc, we know you're a celebrity, and we gotta keep our celebrities happy, so we'll pay that $16 million right now. Well, now that we've paid Troy, his fame is gonna go up 1 plus 1 for each collector in our gallery, and we have 4 of them. So that's a total of 5. His fame is now at 10.
He's a rising star.
A rising star who apparently made some multicolored sine waves for a painting.
It almost looks like a rising star.
That is true, and it fills up the 4th space in our gallery. And the artwork below shows 1 ticket, so we will draw 1 last, actually it's the only remaining visitor in our bag, and place it here. We'll take one of Troy's signature tokens, and it will also go here on the 3 green star level.
Yeah, we never really took a look at John Luke's work. We just were told it was a masterpiece and put it in the gallery. It's...
It looks like someone just dumped a bunch of buckets of paint on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, if you look really closely, you can kind of see a dragon in there, I think.
Or maybe a bunny rabbit.
Oh, wow. I think all these paintings connect. Look, see, we have a bunny rabbit.
Yes, we do.
And then we kind of go... We go down to the molecular level. Now we're into the bloodstream of this dragon.
True.
And then we come back out and we look at the dragon with the bunny rabbit beside it.
Okay.
And then we pull way far back and we
cosmically.
see like the details of the universe and the creation of life.
It all comes together. And people say art's too high-minded for common folk.
Not at the Paprod Gallery.
For those of you efficiently minded, you might have noticed that we could have also spent some influence here when we were buying a painting earlier, just to get a discount of 1 and save a coin.
Not that we're going to need the extra money at the end of the game, because we'll be reaching the Master Gallerist level.
So he says, we've been kicked out, so we'll go back to our gallery, and now for our main action, we can go anywhere.
And do anything.
Well, what anything do you want to do, Pep?
I think it's time we give Troy some of the fame he's been desperately seeking.
Okay, so we're going to kick out one of Lacerda's assistants. These artists, they always want attention. He currently has no promotion levels, so we'll have to spend 1 influence to gain the first promotion level here, which will then put his fame up by 1, plus 1 for every collector in our gallery, which will move him up to 15. This has moved him to the 2 gold star level, and you can't see his signature token, but we're going to adjust it right now to match that. And we're also going to gain a ticket. In fact, the last ticket.
And the last ticket out there is pink, but we want a brown one.
Right, so we'll discard the pink one that's here, and we'll take a brown ticket from the discard pile, and now we can take an executive action. Let's use some of these tickets. We'll spend 2 of the brown ones to move an investor from the plaza directly into our gallery, and we'll spend a pink ticket here.
Moving a VIP into our lobby.
And we have 1 brown ticket left. How should we use it, Pep?
I think we should put a final nail into the coffin on the gallery.
I think so too. Let's drag the 1 potential investor they had.
Yes, Charles.
He's cleaned out the buffet, he's drank all the champagne and the wine, and he's left the disgrace that is the gallery. And that ends our executive action. Lacerda's been kicked out, so we would remove a ticket, but there are none left. And I should mention, during the turn that the last ticket is taken, the end of the game is in sight and we'll get 1 more action. But Lacerda's assistant is now returned. Now it's Lacerda's turn and he's going to move, and he's going to kick us out.
Huh.
Which plays right into our plans.
Because we're going to take an executive action to fulfill one of these contracts.
Right, we'll place one of the assistants here, gaining 2 money for each investor and 1 for each collector in our gallery.
For a whopping $14 million.
Woohoo! And we've been kicked out, so we'll go back to our gallery. And once again, we can go anywhere we want for our final action.
Let's go to the international market.
Yes, this is very important in Pep's plan. We are going to be kicking out Lacerda, but first we'll be placing one of our assistants, and we can go into either of these columns because we have the correct visitors in our lobby. So which of the spaces do you want us to place an assistant, Pep?
I think this token looks the most interesting. Let's go there.
All right, so we'll collect it, and it's also going to give us a nice majority in this column. We're also going to gain 1 influence for going into this column, so I'll adjust that accordingly. Another key piece in Pep's strategy is happening right now because we're going to place this token onto the space here.
And that will allow us to increase the fame of Troy yet again.
1 fame for each collector in our gallery, and we have 4, and 4 is going to put him up to celebrity status.
You know what that means?
Tell me.
Troy's painting was so well received that he went from a nobody to
instant celebrity status.
overnight.
That's the influence of the Paprod Gallery. So we'll give him a celebrity token, we'll gain the 5 money from that, and we'll adjust his signature token accordingly.
So to sum up, we now have the 5 tokens that we need, and we also have 2 masterpieces in our gallery.
And we need a 3rd one to achieve Master Gallerist level, but hang in there, I think we're going to find a way to get it. Although this is our final action, we could still take an executive action if we wanted to.
That's right, but we don't really have anything left to do.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Although I do notice we have one of our assistants here in the gallery. That shouldn't be there, right?
Oh no. Is that who I think it is?
It couldn't be. It is! It's Jendrik. You know, I think maybe he feels bad about betraying you.
Oh.
He's gone over to the gallery.
That's not good.
Not for them. I think he's setting the place on fire.
Oh, that's a much better use for our executive action.
Better than I could have hoped for. And as the gallery goes into flames, Lacerda gets his final kicked out action, and the assistant will go here in the international market. Now it's time for final scoring. First, we'll score the international market majorities, and this is very straightforward. In the first column here, Lacerda has the majority, so we'll take 2nd place and collect 3 money, which I'll add to our supply. And in the final column, we have the majority, and that's good because this one will give us the most money at a total of 15. Now we'll score for the reputation tokens that we collected. This one will give us 1 money for each visitor in our gallery. We have a total of 11, so I'll collect 11 coin.
This one will give us $2 million for every piece of art in our gallery and sold,
for a total of $14 million. The next token will give us 3 money for each painting that we've either exhibited or sold. We have 2, so that'll be another $6 million. It'll also give us 1 influence for each for a total of 2 that I'll mark on our influence track right now.
Next up, we will get $3 million for every collector in our gallery. And we have 4 collectors for a total of 12. We'll also be given 1 influence for each.
And finally, we'll get 3 money for each artwork that we sold. We sold 3 of them, so that's another 9 money. And we'll also gain 1 influence for each for a total of 3.
Rodney, there's something else we missed.
There is?
Indeed, when we took the last token, we forgot to move someone out of our lobby.
Right, we did. Okay, well we'll move, we have 2 guys up here. Who should we remove?
Probably the VIP.
Okay, the VIP is gone.
Luckily, that doesn't affect any of the scoring.
True, but if we're gonna win, we wanna do this right. And now we'll gain money for the art in our gallery. And this is really simple because we just add up the value of our signature tokens. We're getting 20 for each of our masterpieces, 11 for the sculpture, and even 5 from our exhibited photography.
Yeah, Phoebe's art wasn't that popular.
Not so much, but in total, our gallery art brought in $56 million. Now it's time to auction the renowned works of art. We only have 1 of them here, and this is based on the majorities found in the bottom section of the international market. It was very important to Pep and I to start early on by going into this high value space so we wouldn't have to worry about it. This assistant is actually worth 6. This one is worth 3, and these 2 are both worth 1. So our total bid was 6, Lacerda's was 5, and that means we win this piece of artwork. Now we'll check with our art dealer, and you can see we satisfied this secondary requirement of having a photography and digital print that was sold, and we have those here. That's going to give us a total of 10 money. The international artwork of renown we placed in our gallery. We could have also put it with our sold artwork, but we needed it here in order to satisfy both of the objectives of our curator, which you can see we've done, so we'll gain 10 and 15 for a total of 25. And finally, based on the current level of our influence, we'll come down to the next coin value shown and gain an additional 4 money. All right, everyone, we worked together to achieve Master Gallerist level. Let's see if we pulled it off. First of all, we need to get at least 35 in money from our Curator and Art Dealer objectives.
And we did that. Check.
We also needed at least 5 reputation tokens.
Here they are, another big check.
And finally, we needed to have acquired 3 masterpieces.
Well, we know we already had 2, 1 from Jean-Luc and 1 from Troy.
And then we acquired our final masterpiece during the auction.
Right, because the work of international renown always matches the highest artist of that type.
Which was, again, in this case, Troy.
Maybe it was something they found that he painted during his childhood.
Right, it fetched a big prize now that he's famous. And although it doesn't factor in for the Master Gallerist level, I also want to point out we had $222.
You mean $222 million.
Right. So we did it, but I'm noticing that the fire that got started, it's kind of, it's spreading, Pep, it's spread into our gallery.
Yeah, this does look bad, but I did get a call from our insurance. Apparently Jendrik opened up a policy before he left.
Oh, Jendrik, you scoundrel, you. Let's take our money and let's run, Pep.
I guess this is the end of the Proprod Gallery.
But at least we're filthy rich. Well, everyone, that brings us to the conclusion of the Proprod Gallery and our playthrough of The Gallerist. And Vital Lacerda, who we fictionally played against here, is also the designer of the game. And he left a comment in our last video just thanking us for featuring the game and also thanking all of you for joining us and getting a chance to see The Gallerist being played.
Definitely a big thanks to Paulo, Skull Hunter, and Elizabeth as well for giving suggestions on what we should do.
Right, and for everyone who voted those up because it really contributed. I think we all worked together quite well to make the Proprod Gallery a success. Although apparently it ultimately burned to the ground. Well,
well, we brought the gallery down with us, so that's all that matters.
I guess on to our next adventure. Until the next episode, everyone, thanks for watching.